because Damian Lillard is such an amazing player. But I think for the future of the Milwaukee Bucks, I think this was a move that was necessary for them.
I absolutely agree. I feel like you're getting Dame Lillard. He's again aging in his 30s too. Off your salary cap, you're bringing in a young Miles Turner again on a 4-year, $107 million deal. This is big. He was probably one of the best players again as a big man in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, he didn't put up in the NBA Finals. We understand that, but again, I feel like, like you say, Jamal, like this is going to be big for the Milwaukee Bucks, man, to be able to keep Giannis here in Milwaukee. Again, we know every year he goes on his trip with his family to Greece. Right now, it doesn't look like he's signing with anybody new. So, again, this is big with Brook Lopez now signing a 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Clippers. I feel like the Milwaukee Bucks, do you think they need at least one more piece right now with a point guard or somebody else to be able to be an Eastern Conference Finals or contend with a team like the Boston Celtics?
They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to add another piece.
Restart everything. All right. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
The link died. We're gonna just restart from easy. So that was like a little prep.
Cool. No problem.
Go ahead. Easy. Ready? My fault, bro.
Nah, ain't nothing.
That was
bro.
easy.
Ain't no
Now
problem.
watch. Ready? Welcome to the Sports Sesh with Jordan and now Jamal, presented by Howls Podcast. We'll be right back with you, Howlers. Welcome to the Sports Sesh, hosted by Jordan and now Jamal, presented by Howls Podcast. Today, I have a special guest with me, analyst out of Phoenix right now. Jamal, you there, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How we feeling, man? I'm glad to be here.
I'm great, man. It's great to have you, man, on the Sports Sesh. It's great to be able to debate with you in these topics right now about the NBA.
Yep.
We're going to start right now. The biggest thing right now, the Milwaukee Bucks, guys, have waived all-star Damian Lillard right now, and the pursuit of Miles Turner has been signed, guys. Again, Miles Turner just signed a 4-year, $107 million deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. It seems like they're going to try to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee with this. This is the first contract, guys, again, the biggest in the NBA that has been waived, $113 million, which, again, Milwaukee is going to have to pay to Damian Lillard over the next 5 years. But, again, you're trading out Brook Lopez, who just signed with the Clippers, again, for a younger Miles Turner who went to the Eastern Conference Finals again and the NBA Finals. Didn't put up too much, results in the NBA Finals, but again, a big man, you're going youth. Again, with his size, again, it's going to be big for the Milwaukee Bucks. What do you feel, Jamal, about this acquisition, brother?
Well, first of all, Jordan, I do want to say thank you for, I'm definitely honored to be on the pod with you. And
thank you.
thank you for having me. Secondly, in terms of Damian Lillard, listen, this is just a move that had to be made. It was taking up a lot of money. As unfortunate as it may be, he's not going to play next year with the torn Achilles. He's only getting older. I believe he's going to be 35 the next time he even steps on an NBA court. He's getting older, and it had to be done. You had to bring in somebody to make Giannis happy. As the reports are, he was actually open to getting traded. So you bring in somebody like a Miles Turner who can step in for Brook Lopez, who obviously went out and signed with the Clippers this offseason. But you bring in somebody like a Miles Turner who can shoot the three, who can defend the rim, who can move and pick and roll and all this other stuff. And again, it opens the floor up for Giannis. So I think this is a great acquisition for the Bucks. I think it gives you another piece to try and help Giannis get to the promised land once again. But for Dame, it sucks. It sucks because we're not going to be able to see him for this year, and then now we don't even know what team is going to go to, if any team at all. So it's unfortunate that that's the case, but I think it's the move that the Bucks had to make.
Absolutely. I definitely agree right now, and I feel like it's going to be big, too, because the first time in Damian Lillard's whole career, he's going to get to choose where he wants to go. And, again, he's getting paid $113 million, Jamal, over the next 5 years, so he's not going to worry about money. Right now, if I'm Damian Lillard at my age, at 35 years old, I'm worried about a championship. Where am I going to go to be able to compete right now, whether it's a Los Angeles Lakers team right now that's looking for a guard, and they're also looking for a big man, maybe in Miami Heat, with the loss of Jimmy Butler to be the face down there. We're going to look at that, too. There's going to be big guys. They're also looking for a point guard right now with Milwaukee, with the loss of Drew Holiday, obviously going to Boston and then getting traded from Boston. So right now they're going to need somebody at the PG position right now. Kevin Porter Jr. I don't think is going to be the biggest fit, Jamal. So as you know, they're gonna most likely look for a guard too to be able to contend, with the Boston Celtics or the New York Knicks. Would you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, right now with all the injuries that are happening in the West, Jordan, the East is completely open. I mean, there are so many teams. In my opinion, I think the Knicks should be favored to win the East next year. I think they are the best team. Now, again, they still have moves to make in free agency. The draft obviously went by already, but the East is probably the most open it's been in years. Obviously, the past few years, the Celtics have been the powerhouse. Who was going to beat the Celtics? Who was going to beat Boston? Now that they're down Jason Tatum for the entire year next year, it opens up. I think a sneaky team that could slide into that contention to get into the finals is the Orlando Magic. I really like
I
the
like that.
acquisition of Desmond Bain. They went out and signed Tyus Jones, who can really facilitate the offense. Now, defensively, it's going to be tough for him to kind of keep up with everybody. But in order offensively, and something that they really, really needed, especially in the playoffs against the Celtics, he's going to help them with that, facilitating, get Paulo the ball, get Wagner the ball, get Bain the ball. And so the East is wide open, Jordan. It's going to be interesting to see who really takes advantage of it.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. And with the loss of, Miles, or the acquisition, excuse me, of Miles Turner, I feel like now with that point guard position right now, the East is wide open. So again,
Yep.
Jamal, this is the big thing I want to talk about right now. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, your finals MVP, like we said earlier,
Yep.
has just signed a 4-year, $285 million super max deal, which is going to earn him over $71 million a year. Again, my opinion, Jamal, this is a no-brainer for OKC. You have an MVP, you have a scoring champion, you have an NBA champion, and a finals champion. This guy's going one or two more. He's got all the Infinity Stones. Like, this man already at this age, I feel like this is huge right now. He's getting an extension at least for the next 6 years with Oklahoma City. They're going to re-sign, Jalen Williams, Holmgren. I feel like those deals are almost done and finished. So this is going to be big. I feel like for, the Western Conference and OKC to be able to control the Western Conference, brother, for at least the next 5 to 10 years. What's your opinion on this?
The Thunder are the new Celtics from the past
I
few
like
years.
that.
The Thunder, I mean, they are the team to beat in the West, and it's not even close. You've seen a few teams make a few moves so far in free agency. Obviously, the Rockets being the most notable of those teams, acquiring Kevin Durant,
Absolutely.
going out in free agency, getting Clint Capella and Dorian Finney-Smith, another wing to replace Dillon Brooks that they traded to the Phoenix Suns in that Kevin Durant deal. OKC is that team, and they're led by SGA. They are not where they are, not even close to where they are without SGA. I mean, he averaged 32 points and 32, 5, and 6 this year, and obviously won the MVP. He's fantastic. He was great in the playoffs. Now, he did obviously have his moments, but he made up for last year. Last year he went into Dallas. He didn't play very well in the playoffs, and neither did J-Dub. But this year he was like, yeah, I'm not missing my opportunity again. It's not happening. So he went into this year, and obviously the Pacers took them to 7, and he came away with the dub. His first finals MVP. He deserves every single penny of his new deal, of his new extension. In terms of the yearly, obviously that's a record in terms of his yearly income. I think that might be broken here in a few days by my guy, but yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But SGA, he's ridiculous, man, and he deserves every single penny of that new deal.
I absolutely agree. I feel like, being able at that age too to overcome so much too and be able to come out of the Western Conference, which is already so stacked with, teams like Denver, the Lakers, everything else that,
Yep.
really when they're healthy can compete. And SGA too, like, I feel like, the teams that might be coming up right now, that might challenge them again, like we talked about, it could be, either like teams like probably maybe the Lakers. I'm trying to think right now too. Like, they're gonna have to rebuild right now, and the biggest thing right now is gonna be the next thing we're gonna talk about. Is DeAndre Ayton, brother, and that's gonna be him finalizing the buyout with the Blazers right now to become a free agent. And as the Lakers right now, if I'm Rob Pelinka, if I'm that organization right now, I have an agent, LeBron, Jamal. Like, again, I have acquiring Luka right now. I'm setting it up to be Luka's team. And if I'm looking for a big man right now, and I see DeAndre Ayton leaving, again, you're from Phoenix. He's played in Phoenix. He's played in Portland. Does he fit this Los Angeles culture? If I'm a GM right now, if I'm the Lakers, do I pick up, DeAndre Ayton as a big man? What would you say?
The thing with me with DA to the Lakers is, and yeah, I'm extremely familiar with DeAndre Ayton, him being here in Phoenix for 5 or 6 years. The thing with the Lakers, they need a big that can defend the rim as well as catch lobs. I mean, playing with LeBron and Luca, you better be able to jump high and finish at the rim, because that if they're not shooting the ball, that's what they're doing. They're throwing up a lob to one of these big athletic guys who can go and get it and dunk the ball and get easy baskets. Now the Lakers, I think, would be an interesting fit. And Jordan, I don't know if anybody's really brought this up. I think DeAndre Ayton would be a very, very intriguing fit with the Boston Celtics. I think a
I
guy
like
that
that.
can
Wow.
go. I think a guy who can go get a bucket. He's one of the very few players that's averaged 14 and 10 over the past 6 years since he come into the league.
Yep.
He can shoot the mid range. He is a not an awful defender. He can defend the rim a little bit when he feels like it. But right now the starting center in Boston is Al Horford, who is 75 years old, and so you're gonna want paying Luke Cornett $10 million a year for the next 4 years.
It's not happening.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine anybody doing that. I mean, from the deal that he got, but I think DeAndre Ayton could be a very interesting fit, especially when JT comes back, to put him in with JB and JT to really grow. I think DeAndre Ayton could be an interesting fit in Boston as well.
Now, here's a big thing with the Western Conference. You saw this past week, Jamal, like Kevin Durant has now signed and left Phoenix to go to the Rockets. Are they a contender, Jamal? Like with the new look of the NBA with KD there, you have Ime Udoka, you have Amen Thompson, you got Fred VanVleet. It looks like you're rebuilding a solid roster that, again, lost in the first round, but was a young team. Now you got a veteran like Kevin Durant, an all-star, an NBA champion. How do you feel this new look Rockets team? And again, how do you feel the Phoenix Suns did in that trade? In my opinion, I feel like they made out like bandits. In your opinion, what do you think, Jamal?
Yeah, the feeling here in Phoenix is they didn't get enough. They get enough. And me and a few of my boys, I said the conversation, when that conversation is happening with the Suns and the Rockets, the first two words that should be come up in that conversation is Jabari Smith. That is the first thing that should have been said in that conversation. And the fact that they did not come away with Jabari Smith Jr. is a little disappointing. But they were able to flip some of those picks. They got Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and the number 10 overall pick, and like 5 second-round picks. Now, what the Suns did with them, I really like. The Jalen Green fit in Phoenix, I'm not the biggest fan of. I was kind of hoping they flip him. That doesn't seem to be the case. But you go out and get Dillon Brooks. You add some toughness to this team, who might have been the softest team in the league last year. The Suns, that is. And then you go out with the number 10 pick, draft Common Malawach, who, again, a position of very, very, very much need for the Suns. You trade your other first round pick for Mark Williams, another acquisition that I love for them. And then you go and turn those 5 first round picks into 2 picks this year, and drafting Rasheer Fleming at 31 and Kobe Brea, I believe, with the 41st pick or 42nd pick out of Kentucky. And so with the Suns, I like what they've turned the picks into and turned the stuff into that they got from the Rockets. In terms of the Rockets, though, Jordan, the only team I see better than them in the West is OKC. From the additions that they've made with Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capella adding a backup big to Sengun, and obviously you go get Kevin Durant, the place that they struggled the most was scoring the ball, and you go out and get the greatest scorer to ever play the game of basketball. I don't see another team better than them right now in the West, and they were already the second seed last year, and they went out and I believe got better.
I absolutely agree. I feel like this team right now is able to compete right now with a team like OKC. Obviously, OKC is younger, Jamal. They're able to sign for longer deals, which makes them a dynasty more or less if they're able to stay and be able to compete every year like they did this year for the next 5 to 10 years. But again, this acquisition is going to be big. Kevin Durant, again, he's won the scoring titles. He's a Hall of Famer, an NBA Finals champion, a Finals MVP. And more accolades than we could both count. And in my opinion, just like you, Jamal, he is the best shooter I've ever seen play in the NBA. And to be able to consistently, since I think 2012, LeBron said it on a podcast within this past week, consistently shoot over 50% throughout his career for the past 10, 12 years is incredible with whatever organization he goes to, Jamal. So I think this is going to be big. But what's your opinion right now with the new look of the NBA, with all these trades, these acquisitions? Who do you think, Curry's going to leave? LeBron James is going to leave. We're going to have KD on the way out in the next couple of years, guys. It's going to be a new face, Jamal, of the NBA. Who do you think that's going to be? Maybe Shy with OKC? Do you think maybe Cooper Flagg with the new look Mavericks with, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, a veteran and all-star coach, and Jason Kidd to be able to go to that kind of organization. Maybe Jason Tatum comes off the Achilles tear. He's back better than ever, and Jaylen Brown, and he stays with the Celtics, and they can fit those role pieces in and be able to compete again in the Eastern Conference. Is it Ant-Man in the West? What do you think, Jamal, is going to be the new face of the NBA, let's say the next 5 years? If we're watching right now, who do you think is that guy for the NBA?
Now, it's weird, Jordan, because the number one thing I've heard when it comes to this face of the league conversation is, oh, the face of the league has to be American. That's not true at all, because obviously it's been Michael Jordan, and then it was LeBron, and then it was Kobe. Like, it's been all these other guys, and they're the face of the league because they're American. That does not need to be the case whatsoever. I think, really the guy that could really take up that spot as the face of the league is Victor Wembanyama.
Wow.
I right now I believe Victor Wembanyama alone, injury or not, I think he's a top 10 player in the NBA. I think he has multiple MVPs in his future. I believe he's going to win an NBA championship, at least one. Obviously, we see how competitive the NBA is becoming. That is one guy. Now, I believe Ant-Man has had some conversation in that. Obviously, JT and Jason Tatum, who has really, obviously last year and what he did in the playoffs last year, I think not winning the Finals MVP hurt his case to be face of the league. I think that's why he's not getting as much credit for that. Now, I definitely believe Jaylen Brown deserves to win it. But in terms of Jason Tatum's case to be the face of the NBA, I think that hurt his case a little bit. I think SGA also has a very, very good chance to claim that crown. I think Victor Wembanyama, should overtake that as the face of the NBA. And the best player in the league, and Nikola Jokic, I think absolutely needs to have his part in that conversation. So, but for the future, I think it's going to be Vic.
I like that too, because I feel like Victor Wembanyama, again, like you said, it's mostly American when we usually look at that award or that chase. But again, with the Luka Doncic's, the Jokers, the Victor Wembanyama's, again, they have Castle, they have De'Aaron Fox. They're a young team that's coming up too, and I feel like they're going to have the pieces to probably at least compete, Jamal, and be able to be a serious, contender in the Western Conference if they be able to plug in, sign a couple players, and find the role players they need to build around Wembanyama. I absolutely agree. I feel like, coming out early, he's been a sensation. He's been more than an upside for the San Antonio Spurs. I feel like he's absolutely a star in the making, and I absolutely agree with you. I feel like right now, though, the biggest thing, in my opinion, too, Shai winning the championship, that's going to be a big for him to be the contender in the next 5 years. Cooper Flag coming up, we got to see him produce first, and you could agree with that. What do you say, real quick? This new draft class, Jamal, you've seen, obviously Cooper Flag out of Duke go number 1 to the Dallas Mavericks, but again, I want to talk real quick about Ace Bailey going number 5 to the Utah Jazz. Have you heard a little bit about, him not really wanting to go there, all this? What's your opinion on, like, this new age? Because I know growing up with sports, all that, we would have been happy, appreciative just to be able to walk the stage and put a hat on. So Jamal, I need to know your opinion, man. As an NBA player currently, what's your opinion on players trying to dictate where they're going to go in the league?
It hurts. I'll say that it hurts because, and I think the NIL has a lot to do with it. Now, I am on the side of the collegiate athletes getting paid. I think they absolutely deserve to get paid. They are just getting paid absurd amounts of money.
Absolutely.
And so I mean, as a college kid, I don't think you need, like I've said before, I've gone on record and said, a couple $100,000. A couple $100,000 will get you through college.
It's not millions like what we see now, brother.
I mean, you don't need, and then once you get that money, then it goes right to their head, Jordan. They're young.
Yep.
They're young. They're 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids that have $5, $6, $7 million. And so when they get that money, they believe, oh, I have power now.
I'm the guy.
I have power. Exactly. You need me more than I need you is their mindset. And so Ace Bailey, I think that's just what happened to him. I mean, the Philadelphia 76ers had the 3rd overall pick and he declined to work out. That's what we've come to. That's what we've come to. And then Utah, it takes them what, 2 days, 3 days to actually fly to Utah after getting drafted by them.
Yep. You went to the last day before pre-camp workouts, and that's just already the disrespect of being able to walk the stage. And you could honestly, again, no default to him as a player. He's an amazing player. But again, to be able to have this opportunity again, there's some people that I've seen that will never be able to walk that stage, whatever happened in life. But again, to be able to have that opportunity and have that look on your face, like you are just unsatisfied, you're unsatisfactory of what just happened to be able to get drafted to an NBA team, Jamal. I was just as distraught as you. I was like, okay, like what does this kid think this is? He hasn't stepped foot on an NBA court. And again, obviously we saw that too with, people believing in Michael Jordan, with Nike. Okay, he hasn't stepped foot on the court. Is this worth putting all this into this player? But this is a new age too. And with these players now, again, like you said, with these NIL deals, you're getting money as a young kid, 18, 19, 20, 21, and you think you're the guy. Again, you're coming into a new league. You're playing with grown men now. So again, for you to think that you're the guy and your college stats are going to translate to the National Basketball Association with LeBron James, with Joker, with Shai, with Jason Tatum, with Jimmy Butler, everybody's Curry that we deal with, Kevin Durant, you already know it's not like that and it doesn't go like that. And the hard truth, I feel like, is going to be seen by him. I feel like he's going to be a glorified role player in the league. I'm not saying anything about it, but to be able to transition and not be able to go to your original destination and try to build there, try to build some type of foundation to be able to go to a team that's seasoned or competitive and be able to compete and be able to know and run that offense and be able to be that kind of point guard. I don't think coming out of high school, or excuse me, college, and coming to the NBA, whatever team you're going to, if they're going to compete, you can be that guy, especially not being Cooper Flag, brother. So again,
and what kind of message does that send in the locker room?
Exactly.
I mean, you come into a locker room with all these experience, these guys who've been doing it for so long, and you just think you're the guy walking in immediately. Jordan, it confuses me, man. I don't understand it.
I don't either, brother. And I feel like that's the biggest thing right now we're looking at with these NIL deals and everything in between. It's going to be big. The last thing I want to talk about, too, we talked about Jason Tatum. The Celtics just signed Josh Minois, again, to a 2-year, $5 million deal. Are the Celtics done? Again, they signed George Niang. They traded Drew Holiday. They traded Porzingis. They have Jaylen Brown coming back this year, brother. But again, Jamal, this is the last topic right here, and I'm telling you, is this Celtics team going to be able to compete in the next 2 to 3 years, or is Jason Tatum and the Celtics window closed in Boston?
It's funny. So I was telling you actually before the show, one of my best friends, my co-host for my pod, he's from Boston. He's the biggest Celtics fan you'll find. He was telling me Jaylen Brown is gonna get hurt after the All-Star break. So he's basically just gonna sit out the rest of the season and try not to get hurt. And I listen. If I'm the Celtics, I don't say tank because of, the East is still open, but the East is open mainly because of Jason Tatum's injury. And so they'll make the play. They'll make the playoffs. I think they'll be better than the play-in because they still have so much talent. They have Jaylen Brown, they have Derek White, they have these other guys who can produce. They don't have a chance to come out of the East. They don't. Without your best player, it's tough. Against teams like the Cavs, who are trying to get better, against teams like the Knicks, against teams like Orlando, who got much better, the Bucks, obviously, who still have a top 3 player in the world. It's so hard to really say that the Celtics can still compete without Jason Tatum. Somebody who I believe is a top 5 player in the league when he's healthy. But the Celtics, at least for this year, the chances of having any success in terms of winning a championship or competing for a championship, I think they've gone out the window when Jason Tatum got hurt.
I absolutely agree. I feel like that window is about to close right now. They're trying to sneak in the doorway right now. But again, with these players, I don't think with these acquisitions, it's going to be able to compete in the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, next week, it's going to be big, guys, for you Howlers. Me and Jamal are going to talk about the Knicks, who's going to be their new head coach. We're going to talk about more acquisitions than the NBA, and we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you guys shed the sheep. Jamal, my brother, I appreciate you so much, man.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
I'll see you next week, guys. Jamal, we'll see you next week, and we'll see you later, Howlers. Thank you. Let's go.